In this video, we'll be explaining our Visual Basic program created for Dr. Weller's ABE 205 course. In this program, we decided to create a program that would allow U.S. Airways to gain information about their employees' customers, as well as their pay scale. In our first program we created, we allow U.S. Airways pilots to put in flight information as well as their flight hours to calculate the total number of flight hours that they have per month and per year. This is important because the FAA regulates flight hours per month and only allows pilots to fly a certain number of hours. In our second program we created, we allowed U.S. Airways to gain information about their customers who would be traveling with them on flights. This is anywhere from their name to their address to their age to their disability resources that they would need to take part in to have a successful flight with U.S. Airways. And finally, our third program that we created, we allowed U.S. Airways to gain information and record information from their employees who are making production parts for them. From anywhere from scrap to blah. In the first part of our workbook, our program allows us to get yearly flight information and allow U.S. Airways to make informed decisions on what they want to do and where they want to go as a company. So we took information from online that showed the international and domestic flights and the year totals from there. So this is demonstrating that. For example, the total flight numbers for 2006 was about 11 million. Next in our workbook is a neat little program that allows pilots to input their flight information from their current flights and from where they're flying. So if we hit insert information, for example, we have the employee's name, the position, etc. Neat thing about this program is if we hit flight attendant, the plane type and tail number go away. This is not important because flight attendants really don't care about what plane they're flying in, whereas pilots would because they want to log this to show how many hours they flew in each plane. So just to kind of demonstrate our program here, we choose my name, flight attendant here, and we're going to be a captain. Day 1 corresponds to January 1st. Plane type is a drop-down menu, so we're going to choose common one, Boeing 737. Tail number will be specific to each plane. The flight number will be specific to each flight. Departure location, type in, we're going to go from Phoenix to JFK. Departure time, 8 in the morning. Arrival time, 12 in the afternoon. And we're in the air for approximately 4 hours. We hit confirm information, a dialog box shows up. This just allows you to confirm the information that you put in. Submit information. We'll submit it to the worksheet, and cancel will close the form. So we hit submit. Neat thing is here that we see is that the information corresponding to the flight number and the total flight hours is logged here. This allows pilots to find the total number of flight hours per year. So for example, we put more information into the forms and it will list them here. If we move over, an array is set up to where we take the flight hours per the day of the year and correspond them to the day of the month or the day per month. So if we hit upload, we can see here these are all zeros because there's no information put in, but we see that the total flight hours corresponds to here. So if we added different numbers here, that would have been added to by the form. We hit upload and these correspond here in our workbook. If we scroll down a little bit more, a function is set up to show the total month hours of flight and the average flight hour per day. This is important because the FAA regulates how many flight hours the pilot is in the air. This program created in our workbook is designed to allow U.S. Airways to gain information about their passengers that will be flying with them on each flight. When you go to U.S. Airways and you want to buy a ticket, they ask you some certain information that allows them to gain information to see about either if you're disabled or if you're a child that's under a certain age and needs assistance flying alone, or if you're pregnant and need assistance, if you have a younger child and you need pre-boarding information, etc. So if we hit insert passenger information, all this information kind of shows up here. And I'm sorry about the bottom here, but these buttons are the view, submit, cancel. So number of passengers. This will allow you to choose how many passengers are going to be flying with your party. And as you can see here in the image, it says U.S. Airways will find best valued seat based on submitted information for seat location and preference. So say there's 3 people in your family. You can choose if you want first class or economy class, depending on what you want. If you want an aisle seat or a window seat preference. So I'm going to choose aisle seat. This allows you to see if you require assistance, yes or no. So if you don't need require assistance, then you don't need to type in the assistance. But if you do, then it'll allow you to use these check boxes to say what kind of assistance do you need through U.S. Airways. So I'm going to say I need assistance because I'm a child flying alone, or I'm a young child, I'm in a wheelchair, so we'll choose a couple of these. Next is the passenger information. So we're going to have 3 people flying with us. Their names are going to be my name, Nick's name, and our friend randomly created name. We're all going to have the same address because we're all living together. So we're going to copy this. And we're all 18 years or older. This is important information to record for U.S. Airways because it kind of do statistics on who their passenger are and how they can cater to them. So if we hit the view information here, we can see the information kind of for each of the information submitted. So we hit OK. Next we submit the information. This then submits the information to the form. So we can see here Ryan and Nick. This is a great way for U.S. Airways to easily gain information through a form, through easy access from the customers, and make decisions on what they need to do, what assistance they need to give, and gain information about what each customer basics needs are per flight.
Alright, this is the third part of our program. First of all, as you choose which employee you want, and say we're going to choose Danny, and to show we show the employee data, and it gives a lowdown on his employee number, obviously his name, his first year he started working, his hourly pay, and his position, which in this case is machine operator. And then we close out of that. As we see right now, the goal is above the actual, and the scrap is underneath $1,000, as it says right here. Oops. And we say Danny worked the first week 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, summing up to 40 hours here. To the second week, he decided to work 6 hours on Monday, 8 hours Tuesday. He had to pick up his kids early, so he left after 4 hours, 8 hours, and then 8 hours. So 38 hours that week. Or no, I'm sorry, 34 hours that week. I can't even count. And then he gets paid $12 an hour, so we can go to 12. And then it shows his week 1 pay and his week 2 pay and his total pay. But that's before tax and scrap are taken into account. And since we see that the goal is less than the actual and the scrap is less than 1,000, he should get a $100 bonus, which shows that his actual goal or his actual pay is $100 more than his total right there. If, however, the goal was more than that and the scrap amount was, say, $12.50, his total pay will be underneath. Also, we have a chart here showing the amount he's worked per week, and then we can hide it again.